right, just after 8, so I think we'll get started. So welcome for those that have made it tonight, and for those that are watching us later at home or wherever you are, taking us in your car and listening to us. So yeah, tonight we're going to chat about oxidative stress, what it is and what we now can do about it. So firstly, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a background on me, because some of you won't know me. And so I started as a beauty therapist, say 25 odd years ago. And I just always loved the wellness side of beauty, I guess, and kind of how it's such an innovative industry, and I guess always changing, you know, the science behind it. And but I always kind of felt that beauty and wellness went together. And so in my clinic, which was pretty moons ago, about 20, well, my son's 23 this week, there you go, and I was pregnant with him, my first salon. So that's how long ago that was. And so I started using aromatherapy in my salon, and I realized how amazing it was and how I was getting these results with my clients, not only on a physical level in their skin, but also kind of through being able to relax them on a deep level. And I was getting this feedback that lifetime ailments were getting cleared up, and diseases even, just that they were almost healed. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I'll go and train in it and get myself and my mum off our asthma inhalers, because we were really bad asthmatics. But unfortunately, my mum died of asthma, so you can imagine that's just so life-changing, and it was just the real precursor for me to do something about it. And so it was a pledge to her to get myself off my inhalers with aromatherapy, and I did. So it wasn't an easy you know, attempt, but I got there. And so, you know, from that I made my first remedy, and so that kind of led me down that journey of that holistic well-being combined with beauty, really. And so now I also have my own range, you know, Aroma Spa aromatherapy, and I'm absolutely passionate about that. But through the years consulting clients, I've been giving them beauty and lifestyle advice, and I guess that's kind of morphed into what I do now. Is, if I was to say in one sentence, it's prescribe holistic beauty and well-being products and principles. And I guess that's in a nutshell kind of the easiest way and the fastest. So yeah, our other beautiful host here, when I say other, notice I said other beautiful one, is Vickis. So over to you.
Thanks, Bronwyn. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Vickis Jameson. I am actually from Auckland, New Zealand, although I am living in Melbourne, Australia. So I met Bronwyn, we were trying to figure it out actually, when I studied holistic aromatherapy. I think we did some of the same modules or the postgraduate courses, and it was around that time. So I was a bit like Bronwyn. I am a qualified beauty therapist. I studied in the 1990s. So a long time ago. We're showing our age now. And I started my own clinic in 1994, 1st of April actually. So almost 28 years ago. And I did it because I found there was a hole in the market. At that time, it was very much a, you know, like not necessarily a rich person's treatment perspective, but it certainly was like the 1% of the population would have facials. So I was like, I want this to get out to everyone, how this can actually help with time out, stress management, and just having some space and time and quiet. So I then went on to train as a holistic aromatherapist and integrated those modalities along with Chinese medicine. We did a little bit of herbs. We did reflexology and a whole lot of other things. So I've kind of morphed all those modalities into how I see clients now. So a bit like Bronwyn, we kind of end up doing our own form of beauty therapy, and it's really based on that whole holistic looking after the client for their best interest. And again, I was interested, like Bronwyn says, about our internal health. So I studied a lot on nutrition, in particular vitamins, minerals, and how stress impacted the uptake of those nutrients, and then how nutrients then work in our body to create or not. So why one thing works, and if we're stressed, why it doesn't work, kind of thing. So that's my passion and my background. So that's where I'm at today.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. So yeah, tonight we're going to talk about, aren't we, Vicky, our new exciting science, and we've got that side to us that we've kind of a bit science geeky. So it's called, if I can get my tongue around it, Nutrigenomics, and it's basically, I explain it like it's the next generation supplements, and they're called activators. So rather than calling them supplements, they're called activators, right? And so unlike supplements that just add nutrition to cells, the nutrigenomic activators are nutrition working through the cell signaling, or the cell's intelligence, if you like, to turn on our genes. And what does that actually mean? Well, again, I guess if I was to say, trying to explain that simply, I say rebooting the cell's life force. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it, and it kind of links in with how aromatherapy works too. It's the life force.
Yeah,
so this is exactly it, the life force of our body cells.
Yeah, so I mean that rebooting our cells' intelligence, they actually call that biohacking, and so then they biohack our genes. Oh, so there you go, biohack. We've got a screen. We've got a screen. So yeah,
I'm a bit savvy with the old PowerPoints. I put that together earlier. Something I prepared earlier, Bronwyn.
I'm not savvy with tech, no, I tell you. So yeah, to biohack our genes is basically what the Nutrigenomics do, and the company that these beautiful products are, which is LifeVantage. So oxidative stress, I guess that's kind of, those that don't know what that is, we'll explain it a little bit. I look at as rust that breaks down, slowly breaks down a nice shiny bonnet of a car. So aging, that happens. We get rusted out, unfortunately. Our organs don't function efficiently, and disease can set in. So I mean, we can combat. Oh, again, you've got a beautiful screen there. There you go. That's easy. We can combat oxidative stress and with free radicals, and they're naturally present in the body, and they break down. Guess what age? From 25. How depressing is that?
I know. Actually, you know what? I remember when I did some beauty training with a different brand, so a skincare brand, and I never forget this French woman told me, we have mature skin at age 25. And that is because that's when we start aging. Well, it's actually younger now, but
we Blimmin did our aromatherapy beauty therapy training at Blimmin age 25. We were disintegrating then. Oh my god.
We were mature.
We were so young, but yeah, I've got to tell you, young lady, it wasn't aromatherapy met. It was our beauty therapy. That's how bloody long it was.
Oh my goodness.
So we did our beauty therapy in 1994, 91.
91. Right. We studied together. Yep.
And you were born, another little savvy fact here, you probably won't remember, but I always remember figures like this. You were born in July. I'm not going to say the year, but the same as me, and I'm born in July. But
That's right.
You're a couple of weeks older than me.
Yes.
So, to get back to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Other than we're breaking down. So
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we can put free radicals back in our system, like with supplements, right? But what happens is
we can put antioxidants back in our system.
What did I say?
Free radicals.
Oh, well, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We can put antioxidants back in our system, but we can't put enough in, can we, that we're burning off?
Yeah. So the thing is, we start breaking down much, much faster than we can repair ourselves. And these are the reasons why. I know you're going to cover this in a minute, so I just put that slide up for you, Bronwyn.
Yeah. So it's I guess that's all the things that causes all the stress and
So if just to explain oxidative stress a little bit more from an aging perspective, it is exactly what you say. It's we're rusting out on the inside. It's just we can't see it. So the amazing thing is with the skin, we can see things. So like you might see lines starting to appear, or your skin, you know how the texture isn't so great. It starts to break down or look a bit more holy. It gets red, you might get rosacea. All those signs are aging signs, and it's actually where we've got oxidative stress. And some of it it comes from all of these things like alcohol, toxins, and toxins are like, you know, additives and preservatives that are in our food. We can't always see them in our water supply. Doing too much exercise or not enough. Seems like there's never the perfect balance in today's world. And also something that we are getting more and more of, apart from pollution, which is obvious, but Wi-Fi. So who goes around with a phone in their back pocket or, like pretty much attached to them, they're walking around? We've got Wi-Fi going through our homes. So that's actually, signals that our body has to deal with.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of like now in this era where we're locked inside in our jail. And I noticed it with me because, as people probably can tell, I'm not very techno savvy. And I feel like a possum with the headlights, like I'm actually seeing blue lights when I go to sleep at night and I'm waking up. It's just really crazy. So
so those things cause more free radical damage, and you've probably heard about that free radical, like when you cut an apple in half, if you leave it out on the bench, you can actually see it go brown. That's oxidation. When we've got too much of that in our body, which is created with all these things here that you see on the slide, then we get the condition called oxidative stress. And that's when we basically create too much inflammation, and this starts to create dis-ease in Chinese medicine, dis-ease and disease and disorders. So we get those flares in our skin, but we can also get them in other areas like diabetes and arthritis and chronic fatigue and asthma. All those conditions are in some way contributed from oxidative stress.
Right. So I guess it brings up what we talking about with skin health.
Yes.
So
this, are you going to talk about this?
You go.
I was going to talk about this product that I started. I came across it last year in about September. I'd heard about the pathway, and the pathway that helps to reduce oxidative stress, so all those free radicals and toxins that we've got coming into our body, is with this pathway called NRF2. So it's actually an enzyme that we have naturally in our body, but wait, it actually stops working at age between 22 and 25.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, like we were saying before, how we're breaking down.
Yeah, so it's like that woman told me at age 25 I was mature because I was breaking down. So these are the aging statistics. So to turn that back on, this is the new science, this Nutrigenomics, is how we can use natural compounds. So here in this herbal product, there's milk thistle, bacopa, which is great for brain health. Clearly I didn't have enough. Ashwagandha, which is also known as withania, good for our adrenal organs and stress responses in our body. So it's how our cortisol and adrenaline function. Green tea, which is a high antioxidant. And turmeric, which most of you would know is high anti-inflammatory. The milk thistle up the top there is a really good tonic for our liver. So one of the things when we age is that we become, our liver becomes more tired and overworked. And that if it's not detoxing on a regular basis, it decides what to clean up, because it will focus on the toxins first, and what things to just push aside. So for things like hormonal issues or symptoms as you get older, these are quite often, you know, our body produces these things. So the liver can see it and go, oh, I'll deal with that later. No, I've got caffeine here to worry about, and I've got alcohol here to worry about. So I'll go deal with that first to get rid of it. So milk thistle's a really good herb to support liver detoxification.
Right, and as I was saying before, all these ingredients, they're all natural, but if we were to put these in like a supplement, it's totally different, isn't it? It's just, it's kind of the ratio of these ingredients is the key that triggers this protein to produce our own antioxidants.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that when I discovered this product, I was like, oh, you know what? I actually pretty much take all these things. So I must be activated. And they're like, no, it's actually a science and proven with these quantities. And if you actually look on this graph, you'll see that it's actually really small quantities of these herbs and plant extracts that are used, but it's the blended or the synergistic effect that gives it 18 times more results, or that compounded result, rather than taking it individually. So I was adding turmeric to my, you know, stir fries or my smoothies, and bacopa I could put in my smoothie. So you don't want to take ashwagandha. It tastes not great. It's like horse manure. But it's a really good tonic for strength and vitality. So you can take them individually, but you don't get the activation. It's that absolute perfect blend of these things at the right percentage that gives the activation. And all it's doing is, it's like a little plug and it pushes in, creates the enzyme reaction, and it gets your own body to create 1 million times the antioxidants that a supplement could So when we're taking an antioxidant, so like vitamin C and vitamin E are good examples, they work on a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's one antioxidant will kill one free radical. So that's the damaging part. When we are triggered through these pathways with our own cells making the antioxidants, and it's create one cell in our body, and we've got trillions of cells, and there's like even a higher number of free radicals. So what happens is those million antioxidants that are created from that one cell can go and squash 1 million free radicals per cell. So that's a far more effective way for our body to cope with this onslaught of free radical damage and toxins.
Because what I found out is why it's got this funny name, it's called NRF2, is because the protein in our cells actually called NRF2. And so we all have that present in our cell, but when we age, what happens is it just sits there dormant. It's kind of like it's lost its will, really. Little cell there going, yeah. And then normally when we're young and it's working really well, when the toxins and the free radicals and the oxidants enter the cell, it stimulates this process where it kind of the NRF2 goes and says hi to the nucleus in the cell, and it starts making our own free radicals.
Antioxidants.
I don't know why I keep saying the opposite tonight. That's my brain for you. So the great thing is about the Protandim activators is the next generation supplement. It switches on this little pathway.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I was excited about when I first saw the science. It's not like, okay, I want to take another tablet. And in fact, I used to take a lot of vitamins and minerals, and I've actually halved what I take, because now that I'm activated, that's what they call it, these pathways are activated. My own body's producing more of, this free radical neutralizing activity. And so there's less damage being done, and I've got more energy. I sleep so much more deeply. And not that I sleep bad anyway, but
And I mean, you're a big runner anyway, so I'll ask you, we'll have a little chat about at the end about the difference of your running, and I imagine you can tell us about that.
Yes, indeed.
Like I said before, there's meant to be three theories of aging. So the first one was oxidative stress that we just talked about. And the second one is the mitochondrial aspect of aging. I'm sorry, folks, but there's more. And so if people that don't realize or don't know, mitochondria is the energy source in the cell, and that kind of converts the adrenotriphosphates, ATP. And without getting too scientific or whatever, but there's 3 phosphates in there and adenosine. I'm getting a bit techno, aren't I? A bit scientific. But the ATP converts to ADP, right? And that's what is the whole cell metabolism. So again, folks, as we age, this becomes not as efficient, right? And becomes oxidized as well. So the protein, again, the same kind of thing. There's a protein in there that produces our mitochondria naturally in the cell. So it's not like we're adding anything artificial. And so that will turn over the mitochondria, give us the energy. So as it decays, what happens is it sits there in the system, and we need to remove that out of the system. And so that's where the mitochondrial NRF1 comes into play, right, Vic?
Yep, perfect. Perfect.
See, I'm a girly swat after all. But yeah, sometimes it's kind of hard to explain this kind of stuff, so people know that this actually really works, rather than just, oh, it's a science, you know, take the bloody pills.
Exactly.
A lot of people say, but I'm on so many supplements, I think I'm doing that. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But this is completely, it's a new science that is so amazing.
So basically what you're saying is, just to recap, is that by turning this pathway on, the NRF1 pathway, which works on that mitochondria. So mitochondria is like the little battery. Think of it like your battery in your car. So without the battery, you can have the best motor. It's not going to work. It's not going to go very fast. So the same in our body. And I heard a term, and I can't remember the number. I'm not very good with numbers. But it was something like, if you've got so many number of mitochondria in your body, but if you don't have any, you die, because you can't convert energy. So like if you're eating something, the main purpose of that is fuel for our body, so we can move, function, our brain can think, you know, our blood can pump, all those things that we don't have to think about. And that will also make us more tired if we have less mitochondria working. So that's the thing. If that pathway's again pushed and it's working, and you're also detoxifying and getting rid of old mitochondria that is stagnant and creating inflammation, not getting rid of it quickly enough, then you're going to have more energy at the end of the day.
Yeah, nice explanation. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that works really well for brain health as well, because we fuel our brain slightly differently than we fuel our body. It sounds a bit weird, but a lot of people say they get brain fog, and I know there's lots of different reasons for that. But one of those is that mitochondrial health of our body. Right.
Okay. So yeah, we'll bring up what it can do more in the body and the brain in a minute. But I thought, because I better tell them, well, there's good news and bad news, right? So the bad news is that there's a third theory of aging.
The third theory of aging, you know, everything comes in threes. Everything comes in threes.
And it's called, it's not even out yet. I mean, this range is just, I'll kind of cut to the chase a little bit. This range is just launching in New Zealand. Vickie's been using it for a while in Aussie. So I've started to use it, so I'm getting excited. I'm starting to see different things that are happening. But there's this new product as well that's not even released. So I'm kind of spinning away, and it's called, I don't even know if I can pronounce it right, sirtuin.
I think that's how you say it.
And so that's the third theory of aging. So there's something that popped up on my screen then that I had to, something about Love Zoom. So yeah, Vicky, tell us all about it.
So the sirtuin activity is, if anyone's done intermittent fasting, this is what you're trying to create. You're trying to activate the sirtuin pathway. And what that does is, it's also known as the skinny gene. Some people call it the skinny gene, because what happens is it's your metabolic metabolism, basically. It's regulating how fast we can metabolize food and go through it. So it's really good for insulin, and so it will be good for diabetes. Now, we can't claim that we can cure any disease, but it will aid in prevention. And this is a healthy lifestyle advice. It's not, we're not saying we're curing anything.
I mean,
so it helps the management.
All the products have these amazing studies done on them, but we can get to that later, right?
Yes, they have all got published medical studies. So you can go onto pubmed.com and type in, do a Google search on oxidative stress and a disorder, say like diabetes, and see all the studies that come up. And then you can also do the product that we're mentioning here, Protandim. So do oxidative stress and Protandim and see all the studies that come up. So ask us if you like, and we'll put the links into the notes.
Or on our Facebook page or something.
Yeah. But what the sirtuin activity is, it accesses, it's called an NAD pathway, and that stands for some big fancy long name I can't even remember. But it helps with tissue regeneration. So from an aging skin health perspective, it's really, really good. Also from running and exercise, tissue repair, so collagen repair and tendons and things like that. It works on our stress response in our body. So stress response is also activated by those two other pathways, and that helps obviously with inflammation, but also histamine. So allergies and all those kind of things.
So it'll be great for asthmatics as well, because they're
great for asthmatics. Brain aging, cholesterol. It does say on the slide there, it maintains cholesterol levels, joint health, and creates a healthy inflammation response. So those are kind of all the pathways. There's lots of different pathways that work on similar things. So this is why, and I don't know why I can't get that thing off the screen. Oh, I'm just going to try and move my screen.
That's pretty exciting for little science geeks like us, Ricky, isn't it?
I know it is. So a little bit of this has come up with, the meeting has upgraded. Okay, and I can't get rid of that thing, so I can't move my slides. Hang on a tick. Let me do that. Did that work? Did that work?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not working. Let me find my mouse. Oh, there's the, okay, this is working now.
Oh,
so that's the product. And so it's got, again, it's all natural, olive leaf extract, nicotinate, wasabi, and theocrine. So they're all from natural compounds that we find in plant extracts and compounds.
Hours to sit there in their little labs and play with this ingredients, and then it's,
I know, it's amazing.
It's not just the ingredients, it's the ratio of ingredients. They could be kind of almost there. I mean, some mathematical genius, I'm sure, will come up with the figures, but I'm not going to try.
I know. I think it with the first product, the NRF2 pathway, I think it apparently took 40 years to discover.
Oh,
so there you go. The guy that created it, I can't remember his name, was wandering around school as a kid, going, why do people get older? And wanted to find the solution.
Oh my God, Vicky, if we had discovered this when we started beauty therapy school, we still wouldn't have discovered it.
I know. So there you go.
I can't discover it. Oh my God, that's a bit distressing, isn't it? Would be a bit.
So we've just shortcutted that process. You know, the Holy Grail. I always think people are always wanting that Holy Grail. This could be it. I don't know, but hey, what's the worst thing that could happen?
I forgot to tell you, there was. Oh my goodness. There was going to be a special guest tonight. I know I'm interrupting. Guess who?
Who?
I'll give you a clue. He's a good singer, and he used to sing a lot with his sister. And one of the songs was Puppy Love. Do you remember?
Oh, yes.
I have to, oh, damn it. I was going to, anyway, why I'm bringing him up, of course, he's none other than Donny Osmond. I've got Donny Osmond doll.
Oh, have you?
He's my first doll, and I've still got him downstairs. I was going to bring him up to say, here, Donny's here.
You know what? Hey, you know, the Osmonds, they are on these products. If you go on to one of our websites.
I know, that's why I'm bringing it up, because it just made me laugh when you said it's the Holy Grail. He said
Holy Grail.
Like, what, I think I've found my pill, my fountain of youth.
Oh.
And so I just cracked up because I thought, oh my God, all these years I was meant to find you, Donny. Here you are.
I think we've got way too much energy.
I was going to bring him out and dance him around because he's still in this purple suit. But
back to it. So anyway, that's the Sirtuin, and that's getting launched in New Zealand in June. So you lucky ones are getting it. In Australia, we don't have it yet. So I can't wait for it to be out. It's in the States. It's huge in the States, as you can imagine. And then it's coming into New Zealand. All these products are new to New Zealand. They got launched in November. They opened the market. And so that's why you probably haven't heard of it. It's a really new range. Well, and let me tell you, it's
launched this week officially.
It was meant to be this week. I was meant to be in New Zealand this week. I just looked and thought, I still have my tickets. I forgot.
That's why I thought I'd get you on and talk about them, because I had been, so I got a couple and I sold some. And for those people here, they do look like that. And but missing the NAD, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, no, they're pretty cool. But I guess that kind of moves us on to what we're going to talk about with the body recovery and muscle building and brain health. Oh, we've got to talk about the three of them, using them together, right?
Yeah, you know what? You're really sciencey and good at all that stuff. I love graphs because I'm visual. Yeah. So when I saw this graph, I was like, what? 838% increase. So this is showing the light blue is when you're using all of those three products together, and the grey, I guess, is when you're using just the Protandim NRF2.
So the is amazing anyway, but if you add the three of them together, you get 838% of new cells, new mitochondria, new
yep.
Oh my God.
I know, it's incredible. So you know what, the proof is in the pudding when you can see that, and these are taken from blood tests, so then it's like actual facts.
Actual proof. It's not just an estimate or anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I might start liking graphs.
I'm going to get my bloods taken as soon as we're out of lockdown. I know in Australia we're not in official lockdown, we're just social distancing.
So how long have you been taking the products, Vicky?
September I started. Actually, what happened was September I was kind of thinking I really want to try this product, but I wasn't really committed to it. And I went to on holiday. And so you know what you're like on holiday. I couldn't really tell if it was working because I was drinking every night.
And you're feeling relaxed and all that.
I was feeling great. I'm on holiday though, so I'm like, oh yeah. But I came back, so I flew. I did like a 35-hour flight, by the time I left Germany and then Singapore. And it was 35 hours. Yep. Came home on my own, and then I arrived on the Monday night. I started work Tuesday morning, so I got up at my normal 6 a.m. time. I did the whole week of work, and my husband was still away, so I was doing the dinners and all that jazz, as well as working 12-hour days to catch up from my 2.5-week holiday. And I had no jet lag. And I went, it wasn't until I got through that week and I went, hang on a minute. This would not normally ever happen.
Because you always get worse jet lag when you come this side of the world.
Yep.
Rather than Europe, if you stay up, I found you can kind of get through it. But also that was a great test.
So that was what made me stop and think, I wonder if this is working. So yeah, from then, and then of course I did notice subtle changes. So again, I used to take a lot of supplements. So I was thinking I'm probably not going to feel any difference, but I did. And the first thing was probably the sleep, actually.
Right.
And then more sustained energy throughout the day. So it's not high energy, but just I didn't have that droop at 3 o'clock.
Yeah. And when because, you know, I said to you, I remember saying to you, can you find me a product? And it wasn't anything to do with this. And it was like I wanted something that I could sell on to my clients for their skin, because we were, concerned about aging and the whole holistic, aging through internal health.
Yeah.
And I was talking about hormones, kind of getting off the subject a little bit, but talking about, I wanted a product that could help, especially women as we go through the different changes. And, because as a woman, apologize guys for having to listen to this, but I'm sure it's interesting for your partner, your future partner or your wife. But, you kind of, you know that you're going to go through menopause probably anywhere between, some people go through it from 35, don't they? But kind of get into your mid to later 40s into your 50s, your body is changing. You go to the perimenopause. And so you can kind of notice things where you don't know if you're going through it, but you think, oh goodness, I'm having the odd sign. Or some people might say to me, I've had women say this all the time, I'm having hot flushes at night. I think they are. I don't think it's just hot. So you're not so aware of it. And their partners might be more, they might get ready or whatever. But I've just noticed with myself that when I took because I do, the NRF2 and the NRF1 together, and I'm taking the probiotics, but that's another little subject. But I don't get that up and down of energy or, that kind of premenstrual, it doesn't seem to come on. Whereas kind of in the last couple of months before that, I was like, oh no, getting a bit of PMS, and you kind of, worry's not the word, but you kind of think, oh God, and then it disappears. And you don't, when you're younger, you knew that this was that clear cycle. Well, I did anyway. Everything was so regular and everything was just so in tune. And then I started noticing things all out. And so I asked you to find a product, and you came back with this, and it does all that as well.
I know, and I knew that because I'd also been on, used to get really bad PMS, really bad. My husband would tell me, are you getting your period? I'd be like, no. And then it would turn up the next day, oh yeah, you're right. Every month it was the same. I don't know how, I never knew. But anyway, so I went on to herbs very early. I think I was like 43 or something, and I tried different herbs, and I found a blend that worked. But you know what happened was they stopped making it. So they stopped making it middle of last year. And it was actually, I had enough to keep me going until I started this, and I never thought anything about it. But what happened was, of course, I stopped the other stuff and I started this, and I had no difference. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm already over it, I don't have any.
On the other side.
I'm on the other side, but I haven't gone through menopause.
Wow.
So it's kind of odd, who knows?
But it's just so cool that these, like everything we're talking about, before we started this kind of conversation, people will go, well, how's this related to body recovery or muscle building, or if you're an athlete, or you can kind of, I like to say that I'm pretty fit. I go to hopefully it's not going to be a used to, because I'm not allowed. So I'm walking up our local mountain to try and get my fitness to, that whole cardio, try and get a sweat up, because I've got all the videos sent to me on demand. But if you haven't done the class, it's not the same.
Yeah.
But, so I'd like to think of myself as pretty fit and stuff. But I always use, essential oils, and that have got this great blend to get rid of the lactic acid in there. But it's just amazing to know that we've got something that gets rid of our oxidative stress, all our cells that need to be replaced and all our mitochondria. And so that's kind of how it helps all the body recovery in athletes. So there has
been studies done with marathon runners, and this is in PubMed, which is really interesting, and that they took a blood test of this guy pre-marathon, and his oxidative stress was at a certain level. And then he ran his, I think in the test, they actually said 40 Ks. Well, a marathon's 42. In fact, I think they said he ran 45 K, but a marathon is actually 42.2.
Is it? You'd know.
Yeah, I know. And so then they took it as he crossed the finish line, and normally your oxidative stress, or so basically your inflammation markers,
Would be
way high because you've pounded and damaged your body over those however many hours it takes.
Struggling, everything's working kind of overload to keep up.
Yeah, exactly. And the breakdown starts happening after about an hour of exercise. We have breakdown happening. So we're actually eating away at our muscles.
Right.
There's nothing sexy about being a marathon runner. Anyway, they took this blood test and he had zero change. Zero.
Oh my God. That's
zero.
Incredible. I bet he was like, woohoo! So rather than limping off, he just struck it off.
So quicker recovery, more, so speedier rebuilding of muscle, better musculature. So that's the density and strength and muscle mass. So you're actually you're stronger.
Yeah.
And this is actually really important for women too as we get older, because we start breaking down our muscle at a much faster rate because of our estrogen loss.
Yeah.
It actually starts eating away at our muscle quicker. We just lose it.
Comes up with that's a term when they say menopause. It's kind of described as not just the hormones, it's the muscle and all that as well, isn't it? Yeah.
And the dry skin and all those kind of things.
Oh, what's the good news? Well, this is the good news, isn't it? I guess.
This is the good news.
This is the brilliant news.
Well, we're going to live in hope.
Well, yeah, we rave on, don't we, us two? Get us in a
We need to crack on.
We better touch on the brain health briefly, because I told everyone we were going to, and they're probably like, I just want to know about the brain. So a few little facts, and stop me if I rave, because, you know, you and I, we're a bit geeky like that, but brains weigh about 3 pounds. Did you know that? I've got to read because I wrote down notes, because they're so sophisticated they can think for themselves. Did you know that?
No.
20% of our calories go in to produce our blood flow and our oxygen, I think, something like that. And so we consume that every day, and every second of every day, 7 days for 24 hours, we use up all that calories and oxygen. So you imagine all the oxidative stress and all the mitochondria breaking down, all the blooming NAD pathways or molecules or whatever they are. Oh my God. But the brain uses up so much of the body's energy. So most of the energy we put in nutrients, the brain will use it all up, because we're just so intelligent and we just need all these nutrients. So obviously, without being funny, which we're trying to be, it needs so many good nutrients for the brain blood barrier. And I think I've written here something like I think fat makes up 60% of the brain.
Yeah.
And 75% of that 60% is made up of omega fatty acids. There you go. Did you know that?
Yes.
Hopefully, I think I've said it right. So basically, I was reading notes from the scientist that created the protandems, and he's the geeky one doing all the lab stuff. He's real amazing, and he said we need B vitamins, magnesium. For the B vitamins is great for the brain energy. Magnesium is the nerve connectivity and the energy as well. And then the vitamin E is really good for neurons and the connectivity. And then alpha lipoic acid, have I said that right?
Alpha lipoic acid.
And so if you can get that in nutrients, but if you've got a sign of you know, maybe dementia or brain fog, or mental fatigue, if you boost those vitamins, it's meant to really help, along with the NRF2 and the NRF1, and I guess the NAD, right?
Yep. A lot of those nutrients that you talked about, Bronwyn, are actually in the, if you thought back to that slide we just did on the NRF1 pathway, which is your mitochondria.
Yeah.
So that's that conversion of energy. So that is really important for brain health, as much as in the NRF2 pathway, which is your antioxidant one, that Bacopa, which works on mental clarity and getting rid of the fog. So there's quite a few nutrients within those ingredients in those two pathways.
Well, they might find that they're enough, right? But you told me that when I first started taking it, which is, I think it's almost a month to the day, because we've been in lockdown for a month and I ran out and my water arrived. But you said that I said, how long do I have to take it before I notice something? And you said, well, basically the rule of thumb is every 10 years of life, we've got to be on the products for a month. So if you're in your 40s, you've got to be on the products for 4 months. If you're in 50s, for 5 months. But saying that, people like, especially the sports stars, are saying things that they've noticed straight away. So I can't wait till I've been on the products for, like my age, 40 months.
So I've gone over that time now. So I've been on the products quite a few months, over my allocated decades. And it was probably around the 5-month time that I noticed my skin. So it took a while. And obviously, so from my perspective, thinking about how the body works, obviously the inside gets all the activity and all that antioxidant effect first. Yeah. And then lastly, our skin, because it's the largest organ, it reflects.
Feeling it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the skin. So the skin's the kind of, you think about it, it's the outside of the inside. So it's last layers that are going to be fed. So that's a good indication that, you know, it's building through the layers, and finally your skin's going to be, we're going to be natural bone.
Glowing.
And, you know, all these things that are starting.
Yeah. I'm hoping, so that's the whole point, is that your collagen should start with that, like muscles rebuilding, our collagen should be rebuilding too. And if that's rebuilding, we have less sagging, less loose skin. Yeah. So, you know what, the proof is going to be in the pudding, but I'm going to trial it. I'll let you know.
I mean, it's just really what we were just saying and bragging about what we've been doing all these years is wanting to help not only ourselves, because let's face it, we all want to stay as healthy and young looking and as beautiful as we are now. We're not too bad, but
we're not too bad for old chicks.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so it's just,
and plus we want to be able to think clearly when we get older. That's the one thing I actually started researching last year, probably middle of the year, this book called Brain Food by, I think it's Dr. Lisa Nicianza, or I can write it in the notes, but it's called Brain Food. And she started with all this research to do with Alzheimer's and dementia. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to start thinking about this. Yeah. And that's kind of what sort of led to this pathway of discovering this NRF2 pathway. So
I like the pun.
Yeah, did you caught that?
See, I'm very clear. My brain is working.
Exactly.
Seriously though, I mean, I just think it's really exciting, and I haven't had, can't brag about results I've had with clients yet because I haven't had the products in my little hands for long enough, but I can't wait to see the results. And
without lockdown. Yeah,
I mean, why wouldn't you want to be on it? I mean, it's the new science, and the great thing is it's taking approach that, you know, not only holistic, but it's kind of a proactive rather than a reactive.
Yeah.
Right?
Agree. Yep, totally agree.
Great. All right. So timing is everything.
So that last slide is timing. And you know what? You may not have heard of these products or the science or this company that makes the products before, because, as I mentioned earlier, that this has only just come into the market, into New Zealand. And for Australia, it's only been here 4 years. So it's still very new, even though the company's been around, 18 years, and it's traded on the NASDAQ. It's a publicly traded company. So you can go Google them. But timing is everything, and that whole process of a new market with a new trend kind of thing. And this is why Bronwyn and I got interested from obviously from more of a business connection, because we're already in health and wellness. We want to be ahead of the curve kind of thing, the trend curve. So if this is something that you feel like you could recommend to clients, I know I went on a horse webinar, can you believe? Because mammals of all kinds have oxidative stress, and like dogs and cats and horses have more oxidative stress than humans.
I was meant to ask about and bring that up. Yeah, so it's great for animals as well. Your same dosage. How cool is that?
Yeah. Wow. And the great thing about that was, you know what, animals don't know about placebo effect. So we can take and go, oh, I think it's working. Whereas what I'm hearing is these animals, like this one webinar that I went on, the horses that were taking it, some of them were quite old and they had all these conditions and all these, problems that they couldn't walk properly, and ulcers and all these kind of things happening, which I think would be normal for an old horse. And they started on 1 tablet a day, and they could walk in like 7 days. So it's quite quick, the results for them.
Wow.
Amazing.
Thanks for chatting. I know, sorry people if we rambled on. We're going to get kicked off. We've been rambling on for an hour. And so thanks everyone for joining us. And I hope I didn't bore you. I know Vicky's presentation was amazing with their little smile.
You were amazing.
Number one fan. But,
yay.
You haven't changed a bit, Vic, in those 27 years. You're still the same.
A long time ago.
Products are
but if any of you want to connect with either of us about the products, or more testimonials or research, and see if it's right for you, then feel free to reach out. We would love, that's our passion, is helping people to feel better.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye everyone. Thanks.